Hello everybody, SLR Turbo 51 over here. I hope everything is going well with everybody. Tonight we've got something very special planned, to say the least about it. Before we jump into Season 8 of our SLR League Racing, I've actually got a little bit of an idea, thanks to our beautiful group leader, SLR Neen, that we are going to do an interview with a few of the drivers and just get to know them, so you guys who are actually watching knows who we are a little bit better. So please welcome my first guest, the leader of the group, SLR Neen. How are you doing?
Yeah, hello. It's been interesting to see what sort of questions you got for me. It's something I wanted to do to really show what I'm about, I suppose. Why I do this and things like that. I think it'd be good to show some of the drivers and things like that, things they might not know about me and other people. So I thought it was a good idea to put forward, really. And you're the right man for the
I'm
job, I
definite.
think.
I'm definitely going to give you the thumbs up that this is going to be a good idea. So let's jump straight in, actually. And the
Yep,
first thing I'm
fire
going to
away.
ask you is uh, why did you get into motorsport? Like, what was your whole thing about getting into motorsport? What made you tick about it?
It's a tough question because my family have never really been involved. Um, when I was younger, it was I don't know. I just started watching. I remember a TV program called Moats TV, and I used to watch all the rally cars and things like that. I remember Colin McRae, Richard Burns, that blue Subaru. It's still my favourite car today, to be honest. I
Oh
used to watch
wow.
that a lot all the time when I was younger, and then I sort of went off it for a while. Um, but yeah, I really liked rallying when I was younger. It wasn't really F1, it wasn't really my thing too much. But when about 2010, I got back into it again, about 7 or 8 years really between. It was really weird. I don't know why I went off it. I watched the 2012 Chinese Grand Prix. Wasn't a fantastic race, but I liked Williams for some reason, and I've kind of stuck with that. I remember Pastor Maldonado winning at Spain. Bruno Senna was in the team that year, and I really like them sort of drivers. I've kind of supported them, and yeah, it kind of carried on from there. Really, that's how I got into it. I haven't really done much, I say, real life motorsport. I did a bit of go karting, etc., but I haven't done too much. Um, but yeah, that's how I really got into it. Liking rallying, really. Just got addicted.
Well, motorsport can easily connect you towards other ones. I mean, I'm also myself a fan of rallying, even though F1 is my main motorsport. I've got a lot of respect for those drivers, so I can understand how you
Yeah, it's
got into
dangerous.
that.
I don't know.
Uh,
It was just exciting, just watching them all drifting and everything. It was just when you're younger, it's just exciting without even understanding. You know, you just watch
yeah,
it
I
and
think it was
it's just
actually that
exciting.
you talked about Colin McRae. It was
Yeah,
actually him that said rally is the art of controlled chaos, which is actually a perfect description of the sport.
yeah, because it was like '03, '04. He was still rallying in, to that point. Unfortunately, he died after that, but um, yeah, that's how I really
He
got
will
into
always be
it.
remembered.
Always.
Okay, jumping into the second question, because you are the league leader, why did you start the league?
Why did I start that? That is a question I haven't really answered ever. I've really not haven't really answered that too much. So I really start with my personal life. That's not really something I talk about too much. But I didn't really know what to do with my life, to be honest. It was really weird. When at school. Do you know when you get the questions at school? You know, what do you want to do
Oh yeah.
when you're older? And you're like, you don't have a clue. Somehow I ended up in cooking. Went to college. I wasn't doing, I wasn't doing fantastic. Let's put it that way. I did that because my friends wanted to do it, and then decided not to be a friend. But that's another story completely. Um, but yeah, I went to college and I struggled. I had anxiety. I've got autism, stuff like that, and a lot of anxiety. It doesn't come across in league racing because messaging is a lot easier for me, but talking in real life is very difficult. Um, But yeah, that's really how I got into league racing because I just struggled in life really, and I just thought, well, why don't I try and do something for the people? And so I started this league. I started a group on which you can still find on the PS4, by the way. It's got 600 people in it at this point. Um,
Damn,
yeah,
that's impressive, actually.
there's a lot of people in it. I just started from that. There were a lot of lunatics and things like that. But yeah, I started it, and then eventually I just found out that I just wanted to. I don't know. I wanted to make people believe they could do something they didn't believe they think they could do, in a way that
Mm,
I don't believe in myself at all. But there's a certain people, let's say Craig, for example. Um, he does not have confidence in himself. But if we can get him to have confidence, he can be a lot better. And just believing in people and making them believe they can do something maybe in motorsport and what they love doing rather than doing something they don't want to do. Um, but yeah, that's really where it started. It wasn't very good. First season wasn't fantastic. I didn't even consider doing it long term. Um, Another story about it really is I was watching AOR and things like that, other leagues, and I just thought I'd give it a crack to be honest. Um, yeah, I had a lot of respect for people like that. ILO example, Jack, great owner. It's someone I look at and think, well, I'd like to be more like that, but I've got to be yourself as well. And I suppose when I ask lots of people, I ask people just random at random, really, because a lot of people don't come to you to league race. A lot of them aren't confident enough to do that. And there's a lot of people out there who've got the talent to be league racers without even knowing about it. And it's making people believe that
true.
it's out there. Let's say Dome V. He'd never league raced in his life. And he's won races in Tier 1 and he's against people who could esports level. I mean, things like that. If you make people believe that they can do something, then why not? You know, they love it, so why not?
Actually, now that you talked about it this way, I've never realized that it's been such a deep subject to you, which to me is actually fantastic. I believe it's like a little bit of a problem with the modern society.
Yeah,
People give
it's
up on
something
things
that
so
I want to do
easily.
in life in general. There's a lot of people that are a lot worse off than me. You know, just don't have the confidence to walk out the front door, never mind do anything. And if I
Mm.
can contribute towards stuff like that, maybe just get them involved in the community, get them the confidence, let's say, get them commentating, get them racing, get them doing something other than, talking to themselves, or just get them doing something, push them a little bit. I think that's just a
Yeah.
society problem where they just, you know, they don't, they'll have the confidence to do it, but they'll never get pushed, so they'll never be able to do it, and then
Mm.
it just goes bad. And I don't think there's enough of that, to be honest. I don't know if it's like in
Yeah.
other
Well,
countries, but in England, I've seen it enough.
no, but honestly, I know I'm in a tiny little hole here in South Africa, but dude, it's a problem right around the world, and I actually have just gained a lot more respect for you, because I realize that this is just not, it's not just something you guys do for fun. It's actually something you take really seriously,
No,
and that's something that I can actually get behind, because honestly, it's got very serious real quickly. But the world needs more people like this, and
yeah, it's weird
seriously,
because
I've gained a lot more respect for you.
every time I think about quitting, it's things like that that make me realise why I do it, and then realise that I need to keep going and keep trying for people rather than yourself. You know, give back a little bit, and yeah, and we'll see how long it goes for. We've got a good admin team now as well, and we all have the same goals, I suppose, to keep trying not just for us, but for the drivers, for the commentators, for the people that watch, for anybody, you know. And I think league racing, a lot of leagues do a lot of good for not just F1 and stuff like that, but for the community in general. And I think that is not underlined enough, really.
No, that's a fact, bro. That's really a fact. So you've opened my eyes to that as well. I've got a lot more confidence just in this league. I mean, you get so many leagues, and I mean, they just they don't really see the bigger picture of it, and they just do it for the fun of it, and they mess around with it. And it's amazing to me that you actually have this perspective, and it's absolutely awesome. So high
But it's
respects to
like
you for that.
it's like with you and your YouTube channel. I mean, so you sent me a link to YouTube, didn't I, when I asked you to join? I asked about it and things like that, and I could see straight away you could commentate, and you're very good at it. You just don't know. You just don't know how good you
Thanks.
are, and you haven't had people tell you you're that good, And yeah, you're not perfect. There's work to be done. There's always work to be done on anything, you know. But if I
Mm.
see that you've got a future and you're better than majority, I'll think, that's what I said straight away. I went straight to the admin chat and went, he's got potential, he has. Serious.
Mm.
But
Thanks.
nobody, not a lot of people say that, and everybody needs people to, push them a little bit, and that's just, yeah, it's part of us, I suppose.
Mm. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. Heading towards our next question, it's actually, I think it's an easy one, but why did you start racing? Like, especially when it comes to games, why did you start racing?
Why did I start racing? Well, I raced before leagues, but not league racing. This was my first league racing because I had zero experience in leagues whatsoever when I started leagues, but I've kind of learned as I went with that. And obviously, it was natural to me just to race when I ran the league, so I could run it properly. Um, why did I start racing? I just enjoyed it. It's just I've always enjoyed racing. I used to race on the pad. I was awful, don't get me wrong. And then I got a wheel, and then it got a bit more like I got a wheel, and it got better, and it I don't know. It's one of the few let's say sports out there that you can almost do it like FIFA. You can't really emulate it, but if you feel like you're racing, you feel like you've got something a little bit. I don't know. You could almost
Mm.
translate it a little bit, and it's enjoyable as well. I just find
Yeah, no,
if you
that's a
do if
fact.
you
That's,
if you
that's,
if
that's
you enjoy it, then why stop?
yeah. It's not really more to say about that. Um, what do you love about the idea of racing? Not just the whole thing of racing in general, but what is like the main love for racing? Would you say?
Competition. Always been competition. I do like the history and things like that. I do look into history and things like that all the time. There's lots of documentaries about um, very good out there. But yeah, the competition is the main thing. Arguments, things like that. I always like an argument. Don't get me wrong. Um, but yeah, everyone has their own opinions, and I find that interesting as long as it's not too far. If you know what I'm saying, to the point where
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are wrong. Nobody's wrong, but nobody's right either. Really, you just have your own
yeah.
opinion on racing and things like that. And I do like the competition of racing in general, like the drivers and what they went through and things like this in the past. It's all interesting to me. And even today, what they put themselves through just to get in the car, it interests me really.
Okay.
And then just the
Now the
driving
next
aspect.
question. Yeah, the next question goes hand in hand with the previous one, actually. Why specifically the F1 game?
Well, we've tried other leagues on different games, but it hasn't really worked. We had GT Sport for 5 seasons. It worked pretty well while Mocky Mix, who I'm just going to mention, has been a massive part. We wouldn't be where we are today without him. Fortunately, he's not with us next season, but he was an amazing part of the league. I've met him in real life.
Mm.
He's just like he is on messaging him, by the way. So kudos to him. I mean, always put towards the cause. He did a lot of work that people thought maybe I was doing, but I wasn't. He kept me on my toes. What was the question?
Why specifically the F1 game?
Why the F1 game? That was sort of natural, and it's also easy to run leagues on F1 games because you can ask people quite easily. You can ask in open lobbies, which I started. Realised that wasn't the best of ideas. Going to time trial, you get more competitive league racing and things like that. Yeah, the F1 game, it kind of goes nicely. It's getting better. I mean, when we started, it was F1 2016. It wasn't a fantastic game, but it slowly got better and better and
Mm.
better. But yeah, I was a bit addicted to F1 to be honest. I've always been. We did have a Dirt Rally League as well. Didn't go fantastic. Um, yeah, we've tried different things, but this seems to work. I have no idea why. I just think we've had let's say, the people wanting to be involved. There's more of an audience to F1 games than, let's say,
Mm.
Project Cars, Assetto Corsa, even any GT Sport. There's more of a people an interest. So I suppose that's why the F1 game has worked for us as a league.
Yeah, the F1 game's got a big community as well. It's the racing game that I think it's got the biggest community despite Need for Speed. When you look at sim racing specifically, the F1 game is definitely up there with the heavy hitters. And I think there's more people passionate about this and wanting to race.
I would say
If
on
I look at it from
consoles
my
it's got the
perspective.
biggest community. On PC, well, you're looking at iRacing probably. Yeah, that's massive. Right? The
Okay,
amount of
yeah,
people on there
iRacing,
is
but
because literally everybody who takes anything serious about racing's on there. You know?
true.
So the
Um,
massive amount.
okay. The next question is I want you to give one singular thing, but what do you like the most about the F1 game?
What do I like? That's difficult to say. Um, there's nothing like particular. It's a decent game, but it's. I like the way it's just improving at the moment, year on year. Is getting better for leagues and things like that. I'm liking the way they support it. Obviously, going into esports is a massive thing, and I think that's a good incentive for people because you can win massive prizes like 250k or something. But what do I
Yeah.
like most about it? Um, I just like it how you could just jump in and join leagues and get on with it. I suppose.
Mm.
Another, I don't know, but you can do that on other games, but it's difficult to say. There's nothing in
Yeah.
particular. I mean, the handling's not fantastic. I've got to say it's better on F1 2020. It's getting there. Um, but yeah, it accommodates for everybody really. Casual and let's say professional. Or
Mm.
semi-professional.
Yeah. Okay. And now moving on to your obviously I know you're not racing anymore so much, but when you were still racing in the leagues, what would you say was your best season on the F1 game?
Best season was season two because I came out of season one with very bad. I think I had a few fourth places, seventh in the championship. Season two, I got fourth in tier one. We had three tiers that season, so it wasn't bad. It was F1 2017. I was competitive. We had some good
Mm.
guys in there. CYP, who races now, he's not quite on the level he was. He was a lot better then, to be honest. Technica was very quick. We had Tumas, Frandy, people like that. So to get fourth was very nice. I got my first league race win. Got about five podiums that season, and
Oh wow.
yeah, I was competitive. Just a bit inconsistent over the season. I was quick. That was the most important thing. I haven't really been quick since, because I really stopped after 2017. Kind of just focused on running the league after that. I did the odd appearance. I haven't really been on the podium since or anywhere near it. I'd say Germany this season, season two, tier two. I was
Mm-hmm.
closest. I think I got DSQ'd, but that's another story completely. Um, but yeah, that was my best season. Claiming my first win, that was pretty nice. And yeah, having the amount of podiums I did was really good as well. Um, yeah, I did season three, had a few podiums, a few good results, um, but not quite. But in terms of best race, I'd say probably the league race when I had. I mean, it was a competitive, fairly competitive field. It just chucked it down rain and I went on the right tyres at the right time and won by 15 seconds in
Mm.
the end. But there we go.
Damn.
I'd say
No,
that.
but
I'd
but
have to say that was the best.
yeah,
That
but
was peak.
that first win is always so special. Whether it's on the career mode, whether it's just on an online lobby, your first win, especially when a new game comes out, always feels so good. And I think to get it in a league race is just more special because it is so highly competitive. Would you agree
Yeah,
with that?
yeah, you just get all emotional and everything. You can't even like. There was interviews after I'd been probably crying, but that's
Yeah,
that
that's the
was
thing.
me.
If I ever get a league win when I race with you guys, I think I'm gonna be bawling. I'm not lying.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see for
Oh
that.
boy. Yeah, yeah,
Have to
yeah.
wait and
It's
see.
still a long road before that happens. My problem is also consistency, so that's a bridge we'll cross when we get there. So yeah. Um, Sorry, I accidentally just went. I almost asked you the same question twice. Um, Here's a one that always interests me a lot, even though it doesn't interest other people a lot. What is your most favorite, but also least favorite track on the current calendar we have, excluding the 2020 calendar? I mean, we haven't driven on the Netherlands and Vietnam yet in
hmm
depth, but let's say the 2019 calendar. What is your most favorite and also least favorite track?
Well, I can tell you without driving Zambot and Vietnam that they won't be my favourite. Um, Although I do like Zambot as a track. My favourite track, I've got to say Canada. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for that. Obviously, claiming my first
Oh,
league race win.
Montreal. Okay.
Claiming my first late league race win. You saw in the sprints the other week. I was actually wasn't here that day. I won that race. I
Oh
won. I
wow.
won
Okay.
one.
Yeah, I did.
So
I sucked.
I do like that
I
track.
wish I was there.
But yeah, I'd say that was my favourite. Slow. Just after that, I'd say either Australia or France. I like them too as well, very much.
Okay.
But I'd say worst track. Oh, where do I start? Either it's it's Hungary or China. I can't do either. I
Oh
don't.
well, I
The
actually
thing
thought you were going
is,
to say Spa.
I love Spa. I do like Spa, but it's not definitely not my worst. Hungary, I don't like at all. I never practice for it. I hate it. The corner cutting is horrific. Whoever
True.
made it, just get it off the calendar. It's boring. It's horrible. China, I don't mind it as a track. I mean, you look at it and it's different. I just seem to be very slow with that, to be honest. That's just me, I think.
Okay, obviously you already gave us the reason why Canada is your favorite, that you got your first league win there. Is there any other reason why Canada would be your favorite track?
Um, it's nice, fast flowing, and I'm fairly consistent in general. I'm either consistently bad or consistently good. So it depends. And when I'm on it, everyone else seems to pick up penalties, and I don't seem to, and things like that. I find it easier.
That final chicane is horrendous
Yeah, I
when it
know.
comes to normal players like myself.
Pad players, especially trying to go around that, is not. It's not easy.
Bad player right here.
Especially we're going in. I notice there's a bump now. There's a bump where it just drops just before you brake. It just drops, and then you just lock up all the fortes as well. So it's
Yeah.
even more difficult now. Yeah, but I've always
Oh,
just liked that. I've always been fairly quick around that track for as long as I know.
okay. And despite the corner cutting being terrible, why is Hungary your least favorite?
Why is Hungary? Well, I think I've explained why I hate it. It's just it's just got no rhythm to it. It's
Yeah,
just
that's true for
horrific.
me as well. Hungary is also my
It's
least
just
favorite,
left,
like
right,
literally.
left, right. It's slow, quick. It's just so slow. It's sedate. That's the way I would call it.
For me, it's a hard track to get into a rhythm because it's not flowing. It's awkward. So
Yeah,
for me, the
and
biggest problem with Hungary is it's so hard to get into a rhythm.
it doesn't even give you motivation to practice for it or anything. It's just horrific. I've never got any
True.
results there or anything. It's just not very nice.
Okay. Now, what would you say is your biggest weakness on track? That is in general, going over all tracks. What would you say is your biggest weakness while racing?
Um, my racecraft has always been very good. I'm going to say that. Consistency is usually decent if I practice. Pace in general is not fantastic. I would say I'm slow in slow speed corners. I've still got a bit of work to do in that, and possibly consistency in medium speed. Um,
Mm.
I think that would say be my weakness because I think a lot of people gain in the slow speed because I just can't get it either turned in or just going a bit quick. It's the slowing fast out I struggle with sometimes.
Mm.
So that's probably why I hate Hungary as much as I do. And let's say China, there's a lot of slowing fast out corners. Um, Fast speed corners I'm alright at because I don't need to brake. And probably a little bit in braking as well. Probably braking a little bit too early. Um, but I don't know. I've got a decent time at Monaco now, so maybe I've got rid of them demons. Also, I didn't have my wheel set up for the whole game properly. So every time I turned half into the corner, let's say I turned in 90 degrees, that would be my force feedback, and then it would just cut out, and then it would like, so it'd just slip, and then you'd have nothing. So I managed to fix that. So that doesn't help.
Oh.
But yeah, that really explains that question, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Now, here's one thing that a lot of people struggle to answer. But what is your idea of a perfect race?
Carnage. In real life, carnage, I accept anything like Germany. That was a perfect race for me
That was amazing.
because you just watch
Germany
it
and
and
Brazil.
you couldn't take your eyes off it. That's simple as that.
Mm.
It was so mixed up. In league racing, a nice, simple, plain, dull race. So that I don't have to deal with anything afterwards. I'd have nobody coming to
Yeah.
me. I'll come home from work, like I'll do a 12-hour shift, come home from work at 10 o'clock at night. He's done this, he's done that. I'm just like, go away. Leave me alone. Why can't we just race be fair for? But
Yeah.
that's why we've got the team as well more of a team this time around. but I suppose I'll expand on that later and in the questions. Um,
Yes, we have only got two questions left, actually. Um, Now, obviously, you've played the F1 2020 beta, and I'm not going to lie, I'm really jealous about that. But are you excited for the two new tracks in the form of Vietnam and the Netherlands? Because to me, I'm looking really forward to Hanoi in Vietnam, but I'm not sure about Zandvoort. What's your opinion about the new two tracks?
well, I've not driven either. I'm just going to point that it's not in my beta. Um, I've only got 6 tracks and they're all fairly standard tracks, let's be honest. Um,
Okay.
I think I've got like Russia, Brazil, USA, things like that. It's nothing fantastic. So Hanoi, I've got zero knowledge of really. I've watched like 2 laps of it, but it looks a little bit different. It looks almost like a Formula E track, to be honest,
It does.
to me. Um, but you never know. It might be a good track. Zandvoort, I'm excited for because there's a lot of little sweeping corners. It looks fast flowing. It looks um, good for racing, really. I think Turn 1 Tarzan is a iconic corner, especially from the old circuit.
Yeah.
I've driven the old circuit, and that I enjoyed that circuit. And what they've done to improve the new track, I think, has gone well. And I think it should prove to be some good racing around there, to be honest.
Yeah, one thing I'm excited for Zandvoort is really going to separate the good and the average players, just like France did when it made its debut on the F1 game. I think it's going to be the same with Zandvoort. So I'm really looking forward to see how the drivers adapt to the circuit. And Hanoi, I just think it's going to be carnage with the walls. So I'm looking forward to Hanoi for that perspective,
Yeah, but
especially as a
the thing
commentator.
with France, there was immediately ways to exploit it. As you know,
Yeah.
a track extent, you could do like a 110 lap time trial and things like that. So
Mm.
it took a while for that to sort itself out. So you couldn't really judge where anybody was on that track, to be honest.
Yeah, true. And Nathan, just one last question before we say goodbye. Obviously, you being the leader of our group, what would you say is your expectations for season 8?
Well, we've took a survey from all the drivers. I don't think many leagues do that, to be honest. To ask them what their experience is with the league and what they like about it, what they want to see improved or implemented. And there's lots of things we are doing differently. We've got more admins, obviously more drivers than ever. We're aiming for 160. Probably going to get a little bit
Wow.
under that, unfortunately. We've got over 100 sign-ups, I believe, at this point. So we're majority of the way there. Obviously, we've got an Xbox League or Ilias running that side of things, um, who's experienced in running of the league, so hopefully he can come up trumps on that side as well. But yeah, every week we're going to have admin meetings and things like that. Also, we're going to have more commentators. I'm going to be looking out for a few. Hoping for about 12 or something. So we have like 2 on each
Wow.
league. That's the aim, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
These are the aim of, I've never really reached the aims, but with this lockdown and everything, I've got a
Yeah.
bit more time to do it. Um, but after that, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, all I want to do is get full grids every week. That's my aim, 15 plus or something along those lines, because that's the thing we lacked at the back end of the season. That when things start to come to an end, you realise you can't do anything that season. They'll start thinking, well, I
Yeah.
won't turn up because there's no point. But we're trying to get away from that, and yeah, my aim is just to have a successful season, and in that respect, have a competitive season, be a lot closer than it was last season. With the more tiers we have, I'm hoping the more competitive it will be as well. And yeah, for me, all I can hope for really is that we deliver. Obviously, we'll do more on social media with this, interviews and things like that with some of the drivers, and hot laps and all sorts. We've got planned as well. And yeah, just be successful, just be decent, do a good
Yeah.
job for the drivers rather than
Look,
for anything.
yeah.
Because they
I
deserve
mean,
it
I
for
know
signing up.
I'm a newbie with the league, but I mean, even the way you guys handled stuff in season 8, in season 7 was awesome. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the expectation and the excitement for season 8 is just over the moon. Especially with even with me as a commentator, I just think the action is going to be awesome. I know we've had some big names leave, well, saying they're taking a little bit of a break. I wouldn't necessarily say leave the league. So I think the
Who?
competitive
Name
factor
one.
is going to be a big thing.
Name.
Jojo.
He signed up.
He said, what did he? So he decided to race again.
Yes. I know you're surprised at
Oh,
that.
oh, yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, so
Yeah,
JoJo's back. Okay, everybody
yes
hide
there is.
and duck for cover. He's gonna
Yeah,
come out
I
blazing.
have a
He's the
few tricks
champion.
up my sleeve to get people to sign up sometimes. Um, yeah, I'm really excited to see if anyone can challenge things like that, Surface and JoJo and things like that. And hopefully we can have some good racing. That's the aim. Just to make an improvement,
Yeah,
make a step. That's the overall aim.
yeah, and I think we will definitely have that. Before we say goodbye, is there anything you would like to add before we go?
I just want to say thank you to you yourself for agreeing to do these interviews. I know you're excited. It's something different for you to do. For away from the YouTube and during this lockdown, it'll be a good time to knock a few out, and hopefully we can get some good people in and get some really nice, let's say, anecdotes and things. Um, not necessarily what you know about them as well. And
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
hopefully we can keep working on that. I want to say thank you to all the drivers who have ever signed up to the league. Without them, nothing's possible. Like,
Mm,
it's amazing, really,
yeah,
what this community is. Because I've spoke to lots of the drivers, and they say it's one of the nicest communities to be in because everybody is respectful to an extent.
yeah,
Everyone's friends, everyone's respectful. There's no, let's say, toxic for the most part. Obviously, you're going to get it from some people, but it's how you deal with that as well. Also, thanks to the admins, Mocking Weeks, to people that have always helped. That's also very important. They are probably just as important as the drivers. Because if you have, let's say, bad admins, things like that, why would anyone want to race with people that are not very nice? Let's be honest. You've got to have the right
not
people.
true.
Like we have Robbins now, who's a lot more involved, and yeah, people like that are really special. Without them really knowing, I'm getting all emotional.
Yeah.
But yeah, just want to
Which
say
is
thank you to
fine.
everybody, really, the viewers, everybody who's ever really been involved. Because without them, we can't do the things we do. I mean, we're planning to do races, go to real races. We were going to do that this year. Wasn't going to happen, unfortunately, because of COVID. But hopefully next year we can do some stuff, meet up, and do some stuff in real life, and you know, make memories that last a
That'll be a
lifetime.
lot of fun. So clearly, I'm gonna have to buy myself a plane ticket and come over to your side of the world,
Or
so I can
wherever
join
we
some
go.
of those.
We don't know where we're going yet.
uh, we'll see. We'll make a plan. But SLR Nathan, SLR Neen, I don't know what people
Nay
call
nay.
you. You go
Call
by
me
so
Nay Nay.
many names.
Go Nay Nay.
Okay, Nene, thank you so much for this interview. From my side, it's been a pleasure. I've learned a lot about you tonight, and I've gained a lot of respect for you. It's been fantastic speaking to you, and whatever happens in season 8 with you being the manager of the league, I'm sure everything is going to go awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed learning a little bit more about SLR Nene, and we're looking forward to the next interview. Thank you, everybody.